Hi, I wanted to talk to you today about where to start when tidying and decluttering the loft. So, first, we're going to define what a loft is. I'm going to go over 3 different strategies for decluttering and tidying your loft. And the most important thing is what you should do at the end. You should always do it. So, you're going to want to stay on for that. I was trying to think about a loft that we had done, and we really haven't done many lofts. So first, to define quickly what a loft is, it's when you have like a hatch or a ladder into a little hatch door, trap door, and then the up enclosed space is a loft. I think of a loft regionally here in Ohio as sort of a second floor space with a balcony, like a railing where you can look out over the first floor. But after going online, I learned that it would be this little enclosed space. And I think of that as an attic. But they were kind of saying the difference between an attic is an attic has regular stairs and the loft has more of like the ladder situation. And a trap door maybe instead of a real door. So interestingly, we have loft storage both in my garage and in my home, at the top of my home, and we do not use it. We have nothing in either of those spaces. So that's what I recommend. Don't use it. Don't use it. It's like a storage unit. Anything that goes in there has to come out eventually, and that's going to be pretty difficult or more challenging. So anyway, I know not everyone has enough storage space. So the one place that we did was eaves, which is that little space, you know, you have the roof and then usually the wall is here and then there's like this little eave space, storage space on each side. And we've done a couple of those and they're just very difficult because they have tiny little doors and you have to crawl inside and people shove things back in there and you have to drag them out. So that's what I was thinking of when thinking about this. Ideally, just pull things out as much as you can if you have to do something like that. And those eaves, it had the fiberglass roof stuff. So then we were itchy. So, really cover up, shower off right away because you don't want to get that little glass fiber stuff in your skin and you don't want to breathe it in either. So wear a mask. So that's just sort of like a safety. Wear a mask. Make sure you have enough clothing and coverage if there's any kind of open, fiberglass or that, my gosh, what is it called? I want to say stuffing, but the stuff that keeps your heat in the house. Generally, I recommend the 3-box method. So you want to gather your supplies. You want to have a box, probably a garbage bag, and then maybe a laundry basket, or if you're going to use like totes in the attic or in the loft, kind of gather those supplies. Then you're ready to go. So the first strategy that you could use for decluttering and tidying the loft is sort of easy wins to the hardest. So just kind of looking around, what are those easy wins that you can have? Is it grabbing the garbage bag, pulling out as much garbage as you can, and then going on to the next thing that seems pretty easy. So if you're like, oh, I see some things that I know I can get rid of, start pulling those down. So you want to make the pile maybe at the top of the ladder. We did do another loft now that I'm thinking about it. Ideally, you have a partner at the bottom of the ladder and you can hand things down to them. So they're standing on their feet, reaching up and receiving items so that you're not trying to climb down a ladder with things in your hands. So this is a partner activity. So that's ideal. So make the piles right by the trap door and then hand them down and then you'll get them out that way. So easy wins to hardest, that's the first strategy. Another strategy is simply a left to right strategy. I kind of like that strategy. Sometimes when I'm feeling overwhelmed in a room, it's like you come in the door or you come up the hatch, turn to the left, kind of start at the corner and just begin working your way to the right. Sometimes if there's a lot there, that can feel easier because you don't have to know what the category is. You just begin sorting as you go. So, you start picking up the first item. If it's trash, you put it in the trash bag. If it's a keep, you put it into the laundry basket or the bin you have. If it's a donate, you can put it into the box. And so you start making these 3 different piles. That's the 3-box method. 3 different piles, and you just keep working your way through the clutter or whatever is there from left to right. It's kind of nice too because you can sort of see where to stop. And then as you make space, you can begin putting the laundry basket stuff can be over there. It's not necessarily organized yet. It's just kind of sorted or you're keeping all of that. And so then at the end, you would go back and that's when you would really do the perfect sort. Especially if space is short. If there's enough space, you could label, if you have multiple totes and you know what they're going to be, you could kind of label them and start, here's holiday things, here's kitchen overflow, here's grandmother's things, that kind of thing. The third strategy I want to give you is by category. So this is if you know what kinds of things are in the loft or the attic, you can sort of begin to declutter and sort and tidy by category. So you might say, today I'm going to work on decorations. And maybe it's even more specific than that. Today I'm going to work on Halloween decorations. Today I'm going to work on Valentine's Day decorations, if you have large categories. So you can go in and work on that thing. Okay, I sorted all of the Valentine's Day, all the Halloween. Tomorrow I'm going to do some Thanksgiving decorations. So you can do it by category if you kind of know what's in there. And even if you don't know everything that's in there, at the end you can begin to sort through the categories that like the leftovers, the boxes that you're like, I don't know what category this is. So that's the 3 different ways that you can declutter and tidy the loft. If you have a loft, you want to sort of consider how often are you using it and really declutter as much as you can. And that's my thought all the time. I love minimalism and leaning into minimalism. I think we all have too much stuff, and I'm speaking for myself as well. Another thing that's helpful is knowing what kinds of things should actually go in storage, right? There is a place for storage, and these are the categories that I think that you should have. Seasonal, right? So these are the items you're keeping, you use them, but you only use them once a year, twice a year. And so storage is the appropriate place for them in the loft, in the attic, in the basement, in the garage, if you have those, because you don't want them taking up prime real estate inside your home. The cookie platter that you only use once a year, you may not have room in your kitchen for that. And so storage is appropriate. So seasonal, that's a lot of times holiday, maybe you have the bin here in Cleveland, Ohio, the bin of winter boots and snow gloves and snow pants. Another category that can go into storage is luggage. And part of it is you want to consider how often are you traveling? How often do you travel and what do you use? If you travel frequently, but you usually are just using a small rolly bag to carry on, you might own a larger suitcase and maybe you use it every 2 years when you go on a bigger trip. You might want to have the rolly case in a closet, more accessible downstairs, but that giant suitcase that you use every couple of years, that's very appropriate for storage. And again, 2-person lift on that, right? Someone at the bottom lifting it up, someone, maybe even leaning out the hatch to receive it for safety. So luggage or travel items, and I love to put the travel items right in the suitcase, right? So a lot of people have packing cubes and smaller bags, special toiletry cases. You can put those right inside. I have a luggage scale, so I don't use that often, but it's right inside my luggage. So then when I get out my luggage for a trip, it's right there. I don't have to look for it. The third thing that you should actually put in storage is sentimental items. And you just want to be careful of how many and how much sentimental items you're putting into storage. This could include heirloom items from your family. Often people have items from deceased loved ones. The person passes, do you want anything of theirs? And then people receive sometimes too much, and then that becomes something that goes into storage. So you just want to really consider how much sentimental items you're keeping, and maybe how long. It's one thing if it's like, well, I'm saving this for my daughter in college and I know she's getting her own place and then I'm going to give it to her. That's one thing, right? Versus like, I've had these items in my attic for 30 years. No one in the family wants them. I've already tried to offer them to everyone and nobody wants it. That might be a moment where it's like, well, how long are you going to continue to store those things? Versus, should we take a picture? Should we write down the story for the family and let it go if there's not someone to pass it on to? Or pass it on now, like recircle back to the family, like, hey, I'm trying to clean out the loft. Do you want these items? The other thing I was going to say, every home I've been to has some amount of sentimental items. I have not been to any home without any sentimental items. I don't think it exists. I'm sure it exists somewhere. But usually that's where you want to think about what is a reasonable amount to keep per person. So a lot of times the totes, I'm holding out my arms, about this big. I think they're like 27 gallons, something like that. It's sort of what I think of as a like classic storage tote. Usually having one or maybe two per person is a reasonable amount of sentimental items. So, if you have 5 bins of your children's artwork, like, hey, maybe we should take some pictures, store it digitally. Should we get a book made? Can we go through it and thin it out? Some of those scribbles from when they were toddlers that seemed so impressive, now that they are in 5th grade and they've made some more amazing things, maybe you don't need those toddler drawings as much anymore or as many of them, right? So just kind of considering how much. I have said before, in this closet behind me is photo albums. I have photo albums, paper photos, and that's fine. This is the office room. I don't need that closet for anything else, so they're in there. So everyone has some sentimental items. The last thing I wanted to say is, and this is the most important thing, label, label, label. Label. I have been to places, a lot of times it seems like basements, but it just depends. It is a sea of brown boxes. And even though the person, we're opening the box, like getting everything out, opening the box, they're like, oh yeah, it's this. But you can't find anything. You can't tell what it is because all the brown boxes look the same from the outside. And even though this moment, you're like, oh yeah, that's my cell phone case. Oh yeah, that's my childhood toys that I'm saving. Oh yeah, that's, something I'm saving for my kid. Like a month from now, who knows what it is? So you have to label it. Of course, I come with a beautiful label maker, and we always professionally label everything we do for our clients. But it can be as simple as masking tape and a Sharpie. It does not have to be super complicated, or a Sharpie right on the box if you're using cardboard boxes. But masking tape sticks really well. It usually peels up nicely, the painter's tapes, and a Sharpie. And you can label what is inside of there. And that will help you significantly later when you go back to see what's still there, what you saved. So that's my advice on tidying and decluttering the loft, how to get started, kind of which strategies to use, and then make sure you label it at the end. So hope that was helpful. Have a great day.